Good evening, citizens, friends, and colleagues. Welcome to the February 9, 2016 fiscal year 2017 annual operating budget public hearing of the Prince George's County Board of Education. As always, I'd like to remind everyone to please turn off your wireless communication devices as they interfere with the microphones and taping of the meeting. Mrs. Berkeley, will you please call the roll?
Good evening again, board members. Dr. Anderson? Mr. Burrows?
Here.
Ms. Epps?
Still here.
Ms. Eubanks? Ms. Hernandez? Ms. Jacobs? Ms. Quinteros-Grady?
Here.
Ms. Roche? Here. Mr. Valentine? Mr. Wallace?
Present.
Ms. Williams?
Present.
Ms. Perry?
Present.
Ms. Boston? Present. Dr. Eubanks?
Present. Colleagues, the Board of Education has convened this evening for the sole purpose of receiving public commentary on the fiscal year 2017 budget. The CEO's proposed FY 2017 operating budget recommendation of $2.023 billion represents a 9.9% increase over the FY 2016 operating budget of $1.841 billion. Openness, transparency, and inclusiveness are essential to the work that we do. Our school district cannot begin the work of creating a sustainable budget without including the public in the process of this development. Your opinions, insights, and expertise are needed as we work together to create a budget that supports key priorities in our strategic plan, such as academic excellence, high-performing workforce, and safe and supportive environments for our students. Tonight's public hearing is the third and final FY 2017 operating budget public hearing that the board will hold. We're scheduled to adopt our budget at the February 25th, 2016 board meeting that will begin at 7:05 p.m. The recommended budget will then be forwarded to the county executive, Mr. Rashawn Baker, who will develop his proposed county budget and present it to the county council in March. The county council must adopt a budget which includes school system funding designated by category, and then it goes to the state legislature in April of 2016. The Board of Education will then reconcile with the county's approved budget if needed, and that budget will be adopted at a regularly scheduled meeting in June of 2016. Colleagues will now hear from our registered speakers for public comment, who will speak for 3 minutes in the public comment forum. I will just say briefly that the Board of Education will listen to your comments, but we may not address your comments. You have 3 minutes to make your presentation. At the sound of the budget, speakers would please complete that sentence only. Registered speakers may not relinquish any parts of their speaking time to another registered or unregistered individual. And please, we ask that you don't address individuals or issues, and please, as always, avoid profanity and derogatory terms. This will help us to make this a smooth transition. So we will begin. And our first registered speaker is Juan Espinal, 12th grade student at High Point High School. Is Juan here?
Good evening, Chair Eubanks, members of the committee, and CEO Maxwell. My name is Juan Espinal. Thank you for the opportunity, first of all, to letting me speak. Greatly appreciate it. Well, the reason for me asking or addressing this is for music and musical spending in the budget. Because me as a student, I've been playing music for 9 years, and I think that music is a great outlet for our students to better ourselves, for our students to expand, and our students to develop that integrity and pride that not everybody has. And music is a great way to do it. I've been playing guitar for 9 years. I've been playing in their jazz band, my high school jazz band. And me doing that, playing and expanding on music, I actually got the privilege and the honor to play in the Prince George's County yearly teacher dinner, and it was a great pleasure to do that. Having not had that musical outlet, I would have never done that. And I see that as a way, in a very magnanimous way, in order for us to expand as people and as a whole, because music is a universal language that everybody speaks. Everybody can relate to it. And this budget is a great way to fund music and more musical programs, and that is a very good thing, because music, we can't touch music, but music can touch us, all of us. And I thank you guys for the time, you people. I thank you for letting me speak upon this, and I greatly appreciate the honor that it is to speak in front of you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next registered speaker is Marletta Johnson, 12th grade student at Forestville High School. Is Marletta here tonight? Marletta Johnson. Okay, we'll move on to our next speaker is Tommy Makala.
Good evening. My name is Tommy Makula. I live in Accokeek, and my son attends Accokeek Academy. My main comment relates to the budget process. I very much appreciate these public hearings where we residents have an opportunity to make comments on the budget. However, last year around budget time, I was discussing these public hearings with some other parents. We all agree that while it is great to have these opportunities to comment, many of us don't know enough about the budget to make informed or meaningful comments. The budget document is long and not very easy to understand. And as you know, at these public hearings, we are not allowed to ask questions, or if we ask questions, you will not answer them. That discussion developed into the idea of organizing a question and answer session about the school budget. So a group I'm involved with, Prince George's County Advocates for Better Schools, organized a question and answer session about the budget last Thursday at the Greenbelt Community Center. I believe all you board members received an invitation to the event, and Ms. Grady attended it, which we very much appreciated. We only had a few days to promote the event after we had to reschedule it due to the snow, and the county executive had one of his budget hearings at the same time. Still, we had a great turnout for the event. The format of our meeting was simple. Budget Director John Pfister gave an overview of the budget, and he then fielded questions from our group for nearly 2 hours. His staff had also compiled answers to questions we had submitted beforehand. I feel the tone of the meeting was very positive, and we had an excellent discussion and got our questions answered. I think we all left the meeting much better informed about the budget proposal. I really want to thank Mr. Pfister for his willingness to come talk to us and making our event possible. So, no question, our event was a success, and we are definitely planning another one for next year. Looking ahead, I have 2 requests for next year. I hope the budget office staff will again be willing to come talk to us, and 2, it would be very helpful if we could use a space free of charge for the event next year. I also want to make a couple of suggestions on the actual budget. I feel it should be a top priority to get as much money as possible directed to classrooms. Thus, I'm looking for other areas where savings could be achieved. One issue we discussed at our budget event was that our school system spends over $50 million each year to send special education students to private schools. It seems that we could possibly achieve meaningful savings if we could establish our own facilities to provide these services rather than pay others for them. Another budget item that caught my eye was the Curriculum and Instruction Office. That office has approximately 260 FTEs and over $65 million budget. $1 million budget. Over the years, I've talked to quite a few people who work in the school system, and I have heard from more than one person that the Curriculum and Instruction Office may not provide a lot of value relative to its budget. Because of this, I would encourage you to seriously evaluate the effectiveness of that office and explore other ways to obtain those services. Maybe it would be helpful if you talk to school system staff and school principals in particular about the value of the office provides and to seek new ideas. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker this evening is Savon Lanier. Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening. So I'm going to stop you for 1 second. Just one of my board members recognized that if you have written comments, I meant to say this, if you have written comments, we'd like you to save them so you could share them with the person to right to the next to the. There you go. Thank you, Mr. Mackler.
Good evening, everyone. As a senior cadet and SJ president of Forestville High School, it is not only my duty, but it's also a great honor to speak on behalf of my school. Choosing to attend Forestville High School has been one of the best decisions I have made so far. In 8th grade, after seeing Forestville perform in my school, I knew right then and there I wanted to go there. After doing my research and convincing my mom, my friends and I had applied. It really felt like we were applying to college. 3 weeks later, my friends and I had received our acceptance letters. It was such a great and overwhelming feeling that I would be going to Forestville. It's hard to put into words, but I know that the increased expectations and higher standards is critical to motivating students to become successful academically. There are so many reasons why the school shouldn't be closed down. For example, there are really small class sizes. Students have not been properly prepared to attend schools with a larger population. Being at a smaller school allows you to have that one-on-one time with your teachers. For example, if you don't understand a certain topic or if you are having problems with your grades, you have a better chance of solving these problems here at Forestville. Going to a bigger school would only make everyone just another person in the class. I can honestly say my teachers knew me well enough that when it came time to ask them to write me a letter of recommendation for college or a reference for a job, they did it with no hesitation. They have also helped me to overcome difficult situations and circumstances that I have experienced throughout high school. I've been going to Forestville for 4 years now, and I have not once paid for a uniform or baits. This has caused less confusion inside and outside of the classrooms and has lessened distractions at Forestville. It also helped parents who are not financially stable. The military program has provided me with the proper leadership skills, discipline, structure, and unity. Everyone looks forward to being an alumni and coming back to homecoming games and to support school events. As a cheerleader, these last 2 years have been really exciting. I have had the opportunity to witness many championships from our girls' basketball, volleyball, track, and football team. A couple of years ago, I've had the opportunity to visit my mom's high school in Monrovia, Liberia. I look forward to doing the same with my future children and giving them a chance to see where I went to high school. Forestville has always been a part of me and a part of the process that has helped me mature, grow, and develop. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Sharon Sims. Take your time, Ms. Sims. Take your time.
Good evening, Board, and my Prince George's County Public School representatives and administrators, and welcome my new board member. In the first paragraph of Bill HB 1107, Bill Summary Analysis, it states that our County Board of Education is to raise the level of academic achievement and to raise the level of engagement of parents, students, community as a whole. It also mandates that for our CEO. And this is hard for me because I don't have my reading glasses on. It goes on to state that the CEO may consolidate schools if practical. It also states that the county board has the authority to determine the geographical attendance of each public school and to consolidate schools if it is a great idea. This is what I have to say about Forestville. Is this change feasible? Is this change realistic? Is this change durable? Is this change fair? These are the facts that I pose to my Prince George's County Board of Education and the administration of Prince George's County Public Schools. Forestville Military Academy is a separate specialty program that does not operate like any other JROTC program in the county or the state. Forestville Military Academy is a choice program that should receive the same treatment as any other specialty program, allowing the attendees their amended right to a fair and equal education by choice. 80% of the population at Forestville High School is under the umbrella of Forestville Military Academy. Although there is a JROTC program at the proposed site, it is not the course of study that these 540 cadet students have invested their time, energy, and faith, the Army JROTC. It is highly unlikely that two JROTC flags can fly under one roof. Therefore, these cadets have a very high probability of loss. These are the suggestions that would prove fair and equitable to these cadet students. Cease and assist and leave Forestville High School intact. Cease and assist and allow these students to proceed in their current course of study under the standalone entity known as Forestville Military Academy, even if it is at another location. The Prince George's County Public School System receives the second largest allocation per student in the state of Maryland. Rounding it is an approximately $8,900 per student. Let's look at the numbers. This is budget time.
Thank you.
Ms. Sims, you would like to leave your remarks, please?
I did.
Okay.
Our next registered speaker is Jose Estrada. I see folks up. Is Jose Estrada heading up here? Oh, hey.
Hello, my name is Jose Coron. I am a sophomore at High Point High School, and I live in Langley Park. I have the inspiration of going to college and studying criminal justice so that I can become an FBI agent. And with hard work, I know I could get there. My experience at High Point High School has been positive overall. The majority of the teachers are nice and try to help you as much as they can. I enjoy my algebra class because my teacher makes it fun and easy to understand. It is important for teachers to make classes more interactive and stimulating class because we, the students, have more different ways of learning. And this will build the confidence we need to achieve success. When I was in Barclay Middle School, all the students had access to iPads and computers to make assignments and projects easier to do for those who did not have any at home. My experience at High Point High School has been different because teachers had to make a request in advance to see if there are any available computers for that day or week. I know the school budget wants to improve the academic excellence for all students. I would like to see the budget being used and giving students more access to technology at home and at school. I ask that please approve this budget so that students like me can achieve their dreams. Thank you.
Thank you, young man. Our next speaker is Brenda Darios.
Good evening, chairs, member of the committee, and Dr. Maxwell. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Brenda Barrios, and I have a son that has been in the school system for 6 years, and other that will start in the Head Start programs. I want to thank you to Dr. Maxwell for keeping your word and coming to my son's bus stop. In fact, I have a picture of you and my son at Casa Education Town Hall and at the bus stop. My son was very happy and excited to see you there. And most importantly, that you fulfilled your promise. I am a strong believer that our kids are the future. And if we don't fully commit to their education or future, will don't be a good. One of the things I like about the proposed budget is that it has a 10% increase focus on providing a safe and supporting learning environments in order to achievement in high quality education. I fully support the package because we will see improvement in the schools. From experience, I know Dr. Maxwell is committed to providing a good learning environment. Dr. Maxwell visited Langley Park McCormick and saw the first hands the infrastructure problem students were facing. Soon after his visit, the school heating and leaking trailer ceiling were fixed. Thank you, Dr. Maxwell, for taking immediately action and begin in all of the Langley Park McCormick School. However, there are other obstacles preventing students from enjoying a full, safe, and supporting environment. One of the biggest concerns our PTO has that the McCormick is overpopulated and that the building is not big enough for students. In order to keep the promise of safe and supporting environment for the students, we need an expansion or new building for Langley Park McCormick. This budget represents the type of commitment that is needed to make sure our kids have a good education. I am testifying today of behalf of many parents who are as concerned as me. I know that the tools for success are enough, but we are looking forward to see change with your kinds to help. God bless the children. God bless the school. God bless America. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Maria Narvaez.
Good evening.
Good evening. I am her daughter, Jocelyn Funes.
Good evening, buenas noches, miembro de la Junta Ejecutiva y Presidente Evans y Superintendente Maxwell. Mi nombre es María Belén Narváez. Tengo 3 hijos que van a Cold Spring.
Good evening. Good evening, members of the Board of Education, Dr. Maxwell, and President E. Banks. My name is Maria Belén, and I have 3 children who attend Cool Spring Elementary.
Una de mis preocupaciones es el ambiente y la seguridad de las escuelas. Me alegra saber que el presupuesto hace una prioridad en dar un ambiente de apoyo y seguro a nuestros niños.
One of my concerns is the environment and safety in the school. I am glad that the budget makes a priority to give our children the safety and supervision environment.
También me gusta saber que el presupuesto se enfoca en entrenar y mejorar el personal de las escuelas. Espero que esto incluya un proceso riguroso para cualquier persona que les toca ser responsable por nuestros niños.
I also like that the budget focused to train and improve the staff in the school. I hope that includes a rigorous process for anyone who puts a hand in our children.
Esto es muy importante porque todos sabemos historias donde el personal no se porta de una manera profesional.
It is important because we all know stories where our kids have suffered when the staff does not behave in the professional manner.
Otro punto, felicito al superintendente y a la Junta Educativa por comprometerse en enforzar la comunicación y relación con los padres y la comunidad.
I want to congratulate Dr. Maxwell and the school board for the compromise they have to improve the relationships with parents and the community.
Yo soy parte de un programa de casa que se llama Aprendiendo Juntos, en el cual dan talleres de recursos y discusiones que les ayudan a los padres de Langley Park a conocer el sistema escolar y ser más activos en el desarrollo de sus niños.
I am part of the program from CASA named Learning Together, in which workshop resource and discussions are made to help parents and Langley Park to know the school system and become more active in developing and value of their children.
Saber que este presupuesto hace la prioridad de la relación entre el sistema escolar y los padres es algo importante para mí. Para terminar, espero que este presupuesto sea aprobado para que nuestros niños y padres tengan lo que necesitan para el éxito escolar. Gracias por su tiempo.
It makes happy to know what this budget makes a property of the relationship between the school system and parents. I hope that this pursued budget is improved so that our child can be and parents have the necessary tools to succeed. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Colleagues, as you know, we tend to give a little extra time for folks who are having their comments translated, so we will continue to do that. Our next speaker is Yoko Ngoma. You can take your time and wait for it.
Good evening, Chair Eubanks, members of the committee, and Dr. Maxwell. My name is Yoko, and I have two kids who attend Langley Park McCormick Elementary. I want to thank Dr. Maxwell for participating in the education town hall in Langley Park. I personally invited him to the bus stops and asked him if your children or grandchildren were waiting at the bus stops in very cold weather for 30 minutes or 1 hour, how do you feel? And Dr. Maxwell, but he came to the bus stop and waited with us, and he waited us as our father. He went to the school right after that and fixed broken ceiling and hard heaters that we tried getting fixed. But he did it in few minutes. I was so moved, and I am confident that I can trust him. Many leaders or politicians are just like talking or showing beautiful things and doing nothing. But he is different. I know it's not just my opinion. Parents who knew what was happening trust him too. Right, parents of Langley Park McCormick Elementary? Yes. I am excited about the proposed budget because I think it's an opportunity for us to really invest in our kids' education. I believe that it's very important for parents to be involved in their children's academics. The school system and the parents have to work together. That is one of the reasons I support this budget, because it makes family and community outreach a priority. I was recently elected president of the PTO in Langley Park McCormick, but I have been involved in my children's academics for a long time, so I know the importance of an effective school-parent relationship. I know from personal experience that it is difficult for immigrant parents to be involved. For example, sometimes we want to be involved, but we don't feel confident enough because we don't speak the language. I ask that you ensure that immigrant parents are welcomed and reach out to in more ways. We appreciate Dr. Maxwell's public statement in support of immigrant families under threat of unjust rates and deportation. Moreover, the Parents University Initiative can boost parents' confidence. I look forward to that program being expanded to other schools like Langley Park, McCormick. I really love to attend it. Sorry. Lastly, as an immigrant parent and president of the PTO, I like this budget because it focuses on giving more resources and students and involving parents. I ask that you support he support this
Thank
budget.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Jennifer Porcari.
Good evening.
Hi, Jen.
Hello. Chairman Eubanks, Vice Chair Boston, board members and staff. I'm Jennifer Porcari, and I'd like to thank you for holding this public hearing on the budget. Our two daughters attend Judith P. Hoyer Montessori in Landover. I am here tonight as a parent to speak out in full support of Dr. Maxwell's budget proposal as proposed. His bold initiatives will take us forward to fulfill the promise of our county and our schools. Our family fully supports his vision and applauds your commitment to expanding our budget to provide more resources to our children. I do have one ask of you, of course, or I wouldn't be in front of you, I guess. Please spend some time increasing the county's commitment to the CIP budget. I fully recognize that $5.5 billion that are needed to fully modernize all of our schools is a bit of a reach. But even with this daunting number, I ask you to continue to prioritize funds to improve all of our school buildings. The state of our buildings show our children exactly how much we really value them in a very, very direct way. For example, our program moved from an 80-year-old building in Cheverly to a 50-year-old building in Landover a few years ago. We are rapidly approaching capacity in the 50-year-old building. We are currently not even on the list for the first wave of renovations, despite the age of our building. And by 2020, when the next phase of the renovation occurs, we will be far over capacity in our program. In conclusion, parents in our county stand with you here in Upper Marlboro, in Annapolis, and nationally in Washington, D.C. to lobby for funds to support our school communities. In order to continue to provide safe and supportive school environments, to reclaim the promise of our school system, we stand by your excellent leadership, and we ask that you continue to fight for exceptional school buildings to house our exceptional programs. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Donna Young.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Donna Young, and I am coming here today to speak on behalf of the increase requested of 9%. Last year, at the budget hearings in 2016, there were several things addressed with regards to waste, fraud, and areas of improvement that would have significantly saved us money. These areas included areas in the procurement office, areas in transportation, and areas within special education. These areas were identified by two separate independent evaluations. Those evaluations included the state's evaluation and audit, as well as the transition plan. I come before the board today to ask the question, what have you done to correct these things? What have you done to correct the areas that you already know were a problem? These areas in the last 2014 audit were also stated to have been addressed in the previous audit, which these audits are done every 6 years. So in a 6-year span, there was no correction of these problems. We talk about openness, transparency, and public input. Yet you held a hearing on the first hearing at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, when in fact students aren't even out of school, and we, the public, would not be able to get there, most people, during that time of day. How is that being transparent? I also have several questions regarding what is really happening with regards to the significant increase in SASSR, in the executive staff. We have gone from 2011, when Dr. Height was here, to now, from 8 chiefs over departments to 13 chiefs, 4 deputy superintendents, 3 associate deputies, 4 associate superintendents, all of which whose incomes are over $150,000 a year average, which would in fact help support counselors, teachers, and other areas that are needed in our schools. I ask that the board stop utilizing the need for additional teachers and look at what we can do to fix what's going on in our system. We are extorting money from vendors who are trying to give us services and give us the best services. Our procurement process is clearly broken, and no one's doing anything about it. We need to stop looking at what is being said and look at the numbers. How many students have gone from basic to at least proficient? Make sure we're looking in the right areas.
Thank you. Thank you. Our next speaker is Teresa Dudley. Take your time, take your time.
This is my first time as president, so, okay. Good evening. Thank you, Dr. Eubanks, members of the Board of Education, staff, parents, and students. It is my honor to stand here before you for the first time as the president of the Prince George's County Educators Association. PGCEA represents over 10,000 professional educators serving our children. Our mission is to advocate for our members and for a quality, equitable education for the students of Prince George's County. There are plenty of items in the budget that I can address tonight that affect our members and our students, including the need to expand the Peer Assistance and Review Program, which provides support and peer support for new teachers. I could talk about making sure we compensate our teachers fairly. I could talk about pension funding or technology needs. I could address issues with school-based budgeting or ways to increase funding for programs that end the school to prison pipeline, such as the Restorative Practices Program that Prince George's County Educators Association is working with the school system. The chair of our Restorative Practices Committee, Robin McNair, is here with me tonight because that's very important to us. All of these issues are important and more to our members. This year, our association has become a strategic partner in the Prince George's County Stop the Violence campaign, being led by Global Youth Development Services for Youth under the leadership of Seat Pleasant Mayor Eugene Grant. At the PGCEA meeting on February 1st, 2016, Faculty Association representatives voted unanimously to support to affirm their support of the year-long campaign. As educators, we know the effects the violent culture we are living in has on our students and our schools, and most importantly, our children. Last week, we lost one of our members, Nashante Davis, and her daughter, who were murdered. Nashante Davis worked her way through school at Wegmans so that she could live her dream to become a professional educator and a teacher. Working to stop the violence in our community affects everyone, our educators, our children, and our families. PGCEA is devastated by this heinous act, and we will remain vigilant in educating residents, our students about the need to stop the violence. We are on the front line of what I call the Jerry Springering of America, the love and hip-hop violence portrayed on television where it is okay to hurt or try to kill someone because we do not like their actions. We must teach our children that they get to own their hurt, their disappointment, or their resentment, but they do not get to own the violence. I am asking you here tonight to honor Nashante Davis's memory and continue the work in inspiring our school system by signing on to the Stop the Violence movement this year and using programs like what we have at Mount Rainier Elementary School, Oxon Hill, and Thomas Johnson, and stop the violence in our community, because it's just a tragedy. Thank you for your attentive ears.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Our next speaker is Dr. Angela Wakwea.
Good evening, Board Chairman. I would leave a copy of my last speech, which corrects the record in the sense that I did not acknowledge Ms. Boston for your leadership, so thank you. And then a copy of today's speech where I say to you, good afternoon again, board members, colleagues, and neighbors. Again, I apologize for my voice. I've had surgery, as well as being rear-ended in a traffic accident right after spine surgery. Go figure. My prayer for you today, as you deliberate on the budget, is from Daniel chapter 6, verses 3 to 5 and 22. And just the main line in that one is that the administrators and the satraps tried to find grounds for charges against Daniel in his conduct of government affairs, but they were unable to do so. They could find no corruption in him because he was trustworthy and neither corrupt nor negligent. And finally, these men said, we will never find any basis for charges against this man, Daniel, unless it has something to do with the law of his God. And so they threw him into the lion's den, and Daniel was saved by his God. Very interesting story. And I really want to urge you to listen to the C-SPAN Flint, Michigan hearings related to how a political cover-up shortchanging a budget process can potentially lead to death and poor health of vulnerable children. So my three things that I'd like to say to you, as a mother of three children, age 22, 18, and 15, two of whom are Prince George's County Public School students, go Pumas. First is to please study the BGCPS budget with a fine-tooth comb and remove any excess weight that might be in programs that have never been evaluated for tangible outcomes and are being maintained for political reasons, or to maintain the number of students seated in class, rather than whether our students are healthy, being academically supported, and are ready to learn. One senior leader stated to me that it is all about the federal and state dollars that come from the growing student population in this county that matter, and not whether the children arrive at the correct bus stop, leave and return from a field trip healthy and safe and not dead, are fully vaccinated according to state law and regulations, like being vaccinated against the whooping cough. Secondly, please focus on removing inefficiencies by investing in technology and electronic versus paper-based systems, as I did when I invested $250,000 in a school health electronic system with the approval of Dr. Maxwell. That is the envy of large school systems in the DC, Virginia, Maryland metro area. There are inefficiencies in antiquated systems in the student record system, in finance, in procurement, in position approval, and the whole 9 yards. Thirdly, please lift up the workers on the front lines, not only the teachers and their leadership, but the unsung heroes, the staff who secure and take care of our buildings, the school nurses who often work alone without enough pay and without appropriate equipment, cafeteria workers, bus drivers. Treat them with generosity, with respect and dignity, especially immigrants. Don't despise them because they have accents or of their national origin. They are as American as you are. So I close with the story of one of our children, one who waited with his mother at the back-to-school clinic at 4:30 p.m., where he finally, having come from El Salvador, got the vaccine he needed, a free vaccine. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Laquita Dixon.
Greetings, everyone. I come before you tonight because students, parents, faculty, and community members, are worried about what will happen if Forestville High School no longer had the opportunity to serve the individuals that we were designed to serve, our students, based on the proposed budget. Forestville is important. It's important because it stabilizes the community. It stabilizes a community where so many things are unstable. Never would I imagine that at any time a school that is so important to the community would be in danger of closing. During a conversation with some of my 11th and 12th graders, they shared that in some of their lives, Forestville is one of the most consistent things, if not the only reliable thing in their lives. As a teacher, it would be easy to relocate to another school, but working at Forestville has showed me that this is not just a job. They are my family. We are proud Knights. When you take pride in your school, you acknowledge it. You represent it. You want to see it do well. You give of yourself in every instance. The staff at Forestville takes pride in knowing each and every one of our students and their family members. The students take pride in being part of a small learning community with staff that cares. The parents take pride in being part of the Forestville family, from which so many have graduated from in the past, as if they were passing a legacy or a torch on to their children. Every one of us, most likely, when we talk about our youth, the first thing that comes to mind is where you graduated from, your high school. This is our alma mater. That's pride. Show our students that Prince George's County Public Schools takes pride in them and allow the doors of Forestville to continue to stay open as a proud high school in the PG system. Thank you for hearing me out.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Tanya Wingfield.
Good evening, everybody. In the county executive's budget meeting, he had mentioned about the governor withholding $20 billion and how it was going to hurt our education system. As I mentioned to Mr. Baker, the governor will take us more serious when we do several things. First, transparency. There was a time when the public had access to the full strategic plan, which we used to call the master plan, which drives the budget. That document has now been reduced to a 20-page summarized document consisting of cliches and hyperboles that read like a bill to repeal Obamacare. Increased administrative salaries. Since 2013, the Board of Education has increased senior management salaries over $30 million for positions with no direct service to Board of Education customers, our children, your students. In some cases, existing positions providing full wraparound services were restructured to accommodate the skills of the incumbent rather than the requirements of the position, or the service was just duplicated. For example, we still have a Title I office, yet we are paying a separate diversity officer that works under the same guidelines and framework of ESOL. The Office of Parent Communication and Parent Communication Engagement was headed by an educator that possessed certified clinical experience in order to manage the services that can be part of a student's academic program or provide family support. Those services like special education, guidance, pupil personnel, student records and transfers has now been a new deputy superintendent for teaching and learning position is created, and those services are now stuck under there. I asked the strategic planning group to please audit all senior level positions created since 2010 and eliminate the duplicity and replace unqualified incumbents. Considering the overall performance of this system, I do not see how they received bonuses last year. Transportation. The Board of Education has yet to tell the public what was done to address the $184 million of waste identified in the state audit. What I do know is that the system's inefficient routing, staffing, cost recovery practices, noncompliance to the MOU of 1998, and bid steering is costing us millions. Board expenses. The board's primary responsibility is to ensure the Board of Education operates under sound policies, procedures, and laws. How that justifies this explosive budget is a mystery to me. And I hope we are still not paying for insurance for part-time elected officials. Justice for whistleblowers. Instead of allowing senior managers to manufacture evidence and fire whistleblowers reporting procurement violations, costing our system millions, protect the whistleblowers, fire the violators. Stop trying to drag out their appeal process to protect unscrupulous individuals that are stealing from our children. My final thing, cleaning up in these areas will help us recoup that money. And finally, if you don't want to do it, then I'm asking the Justice Department and the U.S. Department of Education to investigate our budgeting process.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Our next speaker is Shaughnessy DeBerry Melvin. Shaughnessy DeBerry Melvin, are you coming forward? Going once. Okay. And our final registered speaker for this evening is Edgar Barrios. Is Edgar Barrios.
Good evening, Chair Ubix, members of the board, and Dr. Maxwell. My name is Edgar.
Speak right into the mic, young man. Speak right into the mic. Thank you.
My name is Edgar, and I go to Buck Lodge Middle School. Just tell you a little about myself. I live in Langley Park, and about 4 years ago, I was playing outside, and I broke one of the windows from Casa Multicultural Center. I had to meet with the site manager, and she said that if I did community service with Casa, I would not have to worry about fixing the window. Ever since that opportunity, I have been giving back to my community with hopes of one day joining the Army, or I have come to appreciate my education. I want everyone to have this same opportunity, and I know that if the budget increases, we would have other tools that are needed. Buck Lodge is doing the right thing by having iPads for the students. However, we still get textbooks that are over 10 years old. New books have updated information that can serve us to choose our career paths as we go. I support this new proposed budget because it will improve my classes and learning experience. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our list of registered speakers this evening. As we close, fellow citizens, I would just tell you that as we go through the process of approving the budget and moving to the next steps, my friends, we may not always be able to accommodate every one of your requests. We may not always completely agree with your analysis, but we always listen. We always deeply respect and thank you for your engagement and your commitment and your passion and your advice guide our thinking greatly. Thank you very much for coming out and speaking to us this evening. Travel home safely, and this budget hearing is adjourned. Thank you.